Crypto Mondays, Dubai. Let me get a round of applause, please. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. We got a special episode for you guys this evening. We got the lady bosses in the house. I wanted to do this panel specifically to let you guys know that you can be a woman and get involved in crypto. You don't need any permission. And these 4 ladies here to tell you how they got involved and what they're doing and how they're running shit in this industry. So basically, I'm gonna pass this microphone over and I'm gonna get out the way. Ladies are gonna take over and do their thing. We're gonna start with Miss Lauren Bissell.
Perfect. Thank you, Pedro. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Lauren Bissell. I'm recently moved here into Dubai in December, and look, it's been a wild ride. I'm just gonna say that, but I couldn't be happier to be anywhere right now. I think there's so much going on in Dubai, especially in the crypto world. I've been here a couple times before, but right now especially, I think there's a lot happening. So first off, you know, I'm just gonna be very, very frank. I normally don't come and do events that are specifically geared towards women, and I'll tell you why. I think that 9 times out of 10 tends to segregate people even more. If you wanna learn about crypto, you wanna learn about blockchain, you wanna learn about the construction of airplanes, I don't know, you tell me. Just go do it. You don't need to think of yourself as something separate. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. However, I do find a lot of value in doing events like this where there's no barrier to entry, and you know that walking through the door, you're free to ask questions, you're free to talk about whatever you like. You don't have to worry about not knowing things, and that's why I'm excited for tonight. So I'm super, super honored to be moderating this panel, which happens to be a bunch of really, really badass friends of mine in the industry. So I'm super, super stoked to be moderating. Thank you guys for coming out again. And yeah, so I guess let's start with introducing all of our panelists. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves because that seems appropriate.
Hello everyone, good evening. Very happy to be here. Thanks Lauren for this great intro. My name is Jenna. I've been in the crypto space for a long time now, since 2014. I've started out in the space as an engineer, building crypto protocols. I've built the Melon protocol, which is now known as Enzyme Finance. I was the CTO for that protocol, launched it to the mainnet, been through the whole experience. It was very, very, very instructive experience for me. As a person and as a woman, I actually, what you just said resonates a lot. I had no idea that was your stance on these kind of women events. Throughout my career in the space, I've rarely accepted going into panels or going into speaking opportunities because I'm a woman. I want to be invited because of my work. And if you're inviting me because of my work, I come, with pleasure. But if you're inviting me to have a woman there or show that it's open to women, I'm not really interested into that because, my stance is this is a very open space and you just come in and just learn and do whatever you want. You don't need to ask permission. So coming back to my experience, I've built that Melon protocol, which is one of the first DeFi protocols since 2016. I've left that project last year, and this year I'm launching my new project, which is a crypto fund, an activist crypto fund called Kinti Capital here in the region. So I've been extremely busy the past few months, kind of setting that up. It's launching this week, so actually it's a great timing to kind of announce that. And I'll pass it over to my friend Tatiana, who is also a badass in crypto.
Thanks so much.
Woo!
Thanks, guys. So today is actually really special for me. I've moved to Dubai by accident, as so many of us do, in October. I came out to moderate a conference and just sort of haven't been able to get on a flight out of here. And my residency came today, so it's a big day. I'm officially a resident of the UAE. And, being a woman in crypto, I've obviously met a lot of guys in crypto in Dubai. And I get to actually sit up here with the only 3 female friends I have in this town, which is kind of awesome. And they're all in crypto and are all seriously in crypto, and it's super awesome. So for me, I guess I'm a bit of a late bloomer. I started in 2017. Brock Pierce was my neighbor in Venice Beach, which is how I ended up in crypto. Before that, I'm an attorney by training. I was a derivatives trader at TD Bank in Toronto, and then moved to LA to work in venture capital. I worked on 2 celebrity venture capital funds, one for Linkin Park, the rock band, and another one for the Chainsmokers, the DJ group. In the last 4 years, I've been investing and advising on crypto stuff and pulling capital into projects. And in the last 2 years, I've taken up writing as a little bit of a hobby, which kind of took on a life of its own. And I was asked to write for Forbes. So I do a column in Forbes about every week, every 2 weeks on cool crypto blockchain projects. My latest endeavor is I've realized that a lot of traditional investors and venture capital investors are looking to get into crypto and don't necessarily know how. And I know a lot of us get requests of what coin should I buy, what project should I invest in, and I've actually done the work and found 4 the best trading teams, all with different strategies in the space, and I'm creating kind of a fund of funds where we're going to diversify capital across different trading strategies so that more traditional investors that want to get into the space and have the upside that the space provides have risk diversification and a tool to invest in that's relatively safe and seasoned. So that's me.
Amazing, thank you.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah!
This? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi guys. So my name is Theodora. I'm a founding team member of Nexo Finance. I have no idea if everyone's heard of us, but Nexo is practically has been building the future of finance for the past couple of years. I myself am a late bloomer as well. I practically left law school to start Nexo because law was super boring and the future of finance and digitalizing is super exciting, so I just dropped out, decided we're going to start Nexo, and here we are today with 3 of the most phenomenal women that I know in this industry. Not gonna lie, I came from Bulgaria only because of them today, so
And Pedro.
and because of Pedro as well.
And maybe Pedro.
Yes, shout out to Pedro for bringing us
Shout
over
out,
here.
Pedro.
So yeah, a bit of my background. As I mentioned, I was in law school before. I've done practically everything that a person can do while they're starting a company. Like I've been a copywriter, I've been a PR person, I've been a salesperson, I've been a marketing, everything from scratch in Nexo. And I'm very excited about what the future is about to bring to us when it comes to finance. I'm super excited nowadays about educating young women about it, especially ever since the beginning of lockdown. Frankly, I've realized that we have too much banana bread makers and not enough people who know how to manage their own finance. So here we are today, and I hope that this is productive.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, again, thank you guys so much for being here. Super stoked to be sitting on this panel with you all. So again, I really want to reiterate the theme of this evening, which is sort of creating a space where seasoned people can be involved, but also that we're very welcoming to people that are new into the space. So I want to get a little bit, I want to take a deep dive into how everybody came to be where they're at. I suppose I should properly introduce myself, by the way, which I never really did. But that's one of the reasons that I wanted to come up here and speak tonight and why I accepted. I've literally been a music producer, concerts and documentaries as well for most of my career. I was not brought into this industry until about 3 years ago. and I came in just full force. And one of the things I noticed that I had not noticed in other industries I had been in was how welcoming people had been. And that was something I appreciated so much. It's not something I was used to. The music industry is not a warm, soft, fuzzy place. I mean, no industry is, right? But the barrier to entry is kind of like, well, how much blood, sweat, and tears are you willing to put in? Whereas in this industry, it was how interested are you really? And yes, how much work are you willing to put in? But what do you want to know? What are you going to do? How are you going to make it? So it was really up to you. And that's why I actually have so much respect for the crypto, blockchain, and future tech industries. So I guess I would just be really interested in hearing about how you guys came into the space and what your personal stories are, whatever you're willing to share.
Thank you. Okay, so actually for me it was quite interesting because my background was not in engineering. Is this working? Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Okay, cool.
Mic is good, yeah?
All right.
Switch mics.
Yeah. Is that okay? Or
I
is
think
it just my
bring it
voice
closer,
that's not working?
closer.
Test,
You have to
test,
kiss the
test.
mic.
All right. So basically, my background, I guess, I studied traditional finance in business school in Paris. No background in programming or computer sciences whatsoever. Started reading about Bitcoin at the time, just online out of like personal curiosity. Thought it was very interesting. There was a lot of content for free online, so I was just reading. And at that time I was working in a hedge fund in Wall Street. So basically all of my evenings and weekends were spent reading whatever was available online and reading the forums, Reddit, whatever was available. And my observation, first observation was the same. Like it's actually quite open as a space. At the time, yes, there were no women or very few women in the space. But if I would walk into a random Bitcoin meetup in New York, and I never had any issue of being looked at like differently or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. So from that, I decided to kind of like switch career because I got very passionate about Bitcoin, and then Ethereum was kind of like in the making. So I left my Wall Street job, went back to school, learned programming, did computer sciences because I wanted to kind of like understand more of the technicalities of what was going on.
Yeah.
My plan was not initially to become an engineer or a programmer. I just wanted to understand, but I happened to really like it. And I think what really made me like it is that I was, as I said, I was traveling the world, going to meetups, conferences, hackathons, mainly attended by men, and I was always very welcome. And not only just welcome, but also people were very keen to teach you or to show you the way, because we have to be honest, like getting into crypto, it's possible, it's easy. It's not easy because there is a steep learning curve and there is some kind of like groundwork that nobody can do for you. But everyone is, I think, more than happy to show you the way and to provide you the resources, point you to the right places so that you don't get lost into the dark places of crypto. So
Right.
There's so many dark places in crypto. So yeah, I mean, for a couple of months, and a couple of months, I just attended meetups, conferences, hackathons, met a lot of people very early on in the space, and I think I owe a lot to those people. That some of them I don't even remember the names, but they all taught me something, and they all helped me get where I am today. So when I started the first project that I was working on, Melon, I saw the space evolving into something where by the months you could see more women. You could see. Is this working? Yeah. I witnessed the evolution and the increasing amount of girls and women coming into the space, and that was very satisfying to see. And honestly, today, if you go to a conference, it's like there are a lot of women. So I don't think that there are like high barriers to entry at all in that space. If anything, I think it's more open than any other industry.
Yeah, we just need to go a little closer.
Okay, sorry. It's more open than any other industry. No, it doesn't work all the time. Should I take that one? Yeah, okay. Sorry. And I think the reason, really, just to get to the point, sorry I got a bit long here, but the reason behind that is because crypto, by design and by nature, is an open industry. Like, it's open source, it's supposed to be open source at least, and it's also a very meritocratic industry where you get, what you put in. So that's one of the things that I like the most about the space, and it means that it doesn't matter if you're a woman or if you're from a minority. If you put in the work, you get the results, and I think that's a really, really gratifying thing to have in the industry you work in.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I think, by the way, I'm an audio geek, by the way, so I think the mics cut out if you pull them away and then take a second to come back in, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the question?
So really, I just wanted to hear about everyone's personal stories about how they got into this, right? We know what everyone here does professionally and why this is such a respected panel, but I want to hear more of a personal side of how you got into this, why it means something to you, and just kind of touching on that from more like a friend level, speaking to our audience.
Yeah, sure. So in 2017, when pretty much everyone in my neighborhood was trying to invest in crypto, I picked up a magazine. What was that magazine that Jeremy Gardner used to publish?
Oh,
Bitcoin
God.
Magazine?
Let's go into that another time.
Anyway, I picked up a copy of the magazine from his house, and I took it home, and I couldn't put it down. And it was like Friday night, and I canceled my plans that night, and I stayed home and just read.
Amazing.
And then I started Googling Saturday morning, and that took me to Saturday night, and then I barely slept, and then took me to Sunday morning. And so it was like a 3 or 4 day thing where I just refused to leave my house in Venice Beach, and I just kept reading and reading and reading and reading. And I was like, holy shit, why hasn't anyone told me about this before? And for me, like, it innately made sense in my bones that this was the future. And it would take me a little while afterwards to actually reflect on where I came from and why it made sense to me. So I immigrated to Canada when I was 10 years old. I was born in Eastern Europe. I was actually born in Ukraine, raised in Moscow till I was 10. When I was just shy of 4 years old, the Iron Curtain fell. So the Soviet Union fell apart. So whereas most of my peers are used to growing up and believing that a government is solid, I, from like the first moment of my memories, knew that a government is not solid. When I was about 7, one of the tasks that my parents had for me was to cross the street every week and buy a loaf of bread. And they would give me 5,000 rubles to do so. And because the hyperinflation got so bad, the government divided the currency by 1,000 units. So one week, my mother gave me 5 rubles instead of 5,000 rubles and had to give me a crash course in hyperinflation. I was 7. When I was 9, the Asian financial crisis bled into Russia, and we had a currency shortage and a run on the banks. And at that time, my parents had sold a bunch of property and put it into USD-denominated accounts in the Russian banks, kind of like what we saw in Lebanon. And we never saw that money again. And so this was all before the age of 10. So by the time I was like, I don't know, in my late 20s reading the Bitcoin white paper, it was just like, why hasn't this existed before? This makes so much sense. And I haven't been able to walk away from it ever since.
Amazing.
Tatiana has always been an amazing storyteller. I have to give you this.
It's true.
My story with blockchain is frankly very personal. So I was in my university in Vienna. My university in Vienna, shout out to VU University, is the biggest university about economics in Europe. So I got interested into blockchain in 2017. I was in law school and I was like, where can I learn more? Where can I learn more about this? Why hasn't anybody told me anything about this? And apparently it turned out that you can't teach yourself anything about blockchain in Europe. At least you couldn't at that time. So I went back home for the summer, and I re-met with our current executive chairman at Nexo, who is a fantastic person, a fantastic mentor as well. And we had met like a year ago, and I just walked into the room, and he was like, "So Teddy, what is getting you excited these days?" And I was like, "You know what? There's this amazing new technology called blockchain that no one knows about." Apparently, I was thinking 2017, no one knows about blockchain. Anyhow. And his entire face just lit up, and he was like, "Okay, she knows what's up." So a few months into this, like probably a month after, he called me back, and he was like, "Yeah, we have this financial company that we want to start. Would you like to be a part of it?" So I literally closed my suitcase and moved back to Sofia, where we started working on our ICO. And the amazing twist in the story is that I came from a background where you couldn't learn anything about blockchain in Europe when we started, and this was late 2017. Like, this is not 2007.
Right.
So a couple of months ago, a friend of mine from Switzerland, a business partner as well, called me, and he was like, "You know what? You're sponsoring Cointelegraph in your own university." And I was like, "Hell, like, this is an interesting twist." Like, so now we're teaching kids in Europe how blockchain works and everything else. So yeah, well, I just love it when things go full circle like this, and this is
Yeah.
You know, this special moment and fate when you know something is meant to be and it's supposed to happen. So this is my personal story with it.
Amazing. Thank you guys for sharing so much. And again, these personal stories for me are what are so exciting. It's what's so exciting about all of this. Especially coming into emerging markets, there's always that little bit of fear, right? Like, what am I really doing here? Is this the right place to be? Do I know how to navigate this? Can I figure out how to navigate this? And so I want to take one more question on that, and then maybe dive into a couple of market questions, and then also have you guys talk about your own companies a little bit more and maybe what people should be watching out for. But first, because we're here specifically for what is a ladies' evening, I do want, if you're sitting with a woman that's new to blockchain, or a woman that's seasoned in blockchain, or someone has questions in blockchain, please encourage them to think about what questions they have for these amazing people, because I do want to leave some time for Q&A after this. So, and I would like to bring those people up to the stage, so maybe prep them or let them know that we're going to be doing that. But so before we dive into the market a tiny bit, maybe just let me know one more thing about how someone new can just break in. Like, doesn't even need to be a long story. Just how do I start? How does someone start?
So my answer is going to be short and sweet. There's no shortcut for hard work. Like, there just isn't. So, like, just go home, read all the blogs, read all the Twitter posts. Actually try and like code and stake and play around with things. Like, I'm not an engineer like Jenna, but even I, just to understand what I'm doing, I'm practicing sending smart contracts and Like, you just have to do it to understand it, because then when you go to a networking event and you know what you're talking about, people will listen, people will respect you, and people will offer you opportunities.
Yeah.
I would say start with reading the Bitcoin white paper. I think that's the first step, even if you will probably not understand all of it from the first read, but I think it's really important to read that, because it's like really the foundation for that entire space from a technical viewpoint, but also from like kind of a philosophical viewpoint, I guess. So I would take that white paper, read it, and research every single thing that you don't understand, every word that you don't know. That's what I've done myself. And then the other thing that I would do, I would also read the Ethereum white paper, because I think that's an important kind of like paradigm shift in the development of the space and what is made possible by these kind of blockchains. And then the third advice that I would give, of course you have to go and read You have to go and spend time on Reddit, on Twitter, and all of those venues where crypto people hang out.
Go closer.
Sorry, yeah, I'm really bad at this.
Not true.
And the third advice, and I think it's really important, is just get your hands dirty. So, if you're interested in learning about DeFi, for example, decentralized finance, just go and play around with some of the DeFi applications out there. If you're interested in DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, just go join a DAO, participate in the governance system, just like get your hands dirty. It's going to be annoying and kind of like a bit harsh in the beginning, but as you move through the process, things are going to get easier, and you're going to start to understand from the inside how things work and why they're so amazing, and why these technologies will transform every kind of social and economic interaction that we can have as humans or businesses. So that's my advice.
I think the beauty of all of this is that we all have different backgrounds, so you can actually hear like from the technical background and from the financial background, from the investing background. I am personally where I am today because obviously I've been standing on shoulders of giants. I've been seeing this all along. So my personal advice would be, first, if you want to get involved in this, get super curious about it. I respect people who want to be Renaissance
Absolutely.
people, who want to be super involved in anything, evolve all the time. So just, of course, start reading, start deep diving into it.
Crypto Mondays.
Come to Crypto Mondays.
As well. Get super interested in everything that's around you, like be a part of it. But this is like from a general perspective. On the blockchain perspective, I think I don't differentiate between women and men in crypto, obviously, because I think when we've built this industry, everyone has been pretty welcoming. I think all of the men in the space know that they're already aware that they're building the future. So there's not a single person who's ever turned me down when I've asked questions, when I wanted to learn more about it. So if you wanna, you can't take a shortcut, obviously, but if you want to do yourself a favor, pick a mentor. Pick a person that you like, that you appreciate, that you're amazed with, and start asking him questions. Ask him to mentor you, ask him to help you around, ask him to explain this and that, and start learning. And from there on, you can just start evolving yourself as well. But this is a very useful tip in the crypto space because people are just amazing and they want to teach you more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add something to that because that's really very accurate. Of course, in the COVID era, it's a bit difficult, but I would really highly encourage you to attend events like this, meetups, conferences. For me, that's what really helped me build a really strong knowledge and understanding of the space. Because as she said, people are willing to teach you, but you need to meet those people and you need to be in the places where those people are. So definitely conferences, hackathons, meetups. Crypto Mondays is one of them. Make sure that you get into the high quality events. That's very, very important because in crypto, if you go to the wrong gates, you might, as I said earlier, get a bit lost or lose a lot of money. So. Definitely try to find the right circle and drag along.
I also just want to say something because I think we're in a very particular period of a bull cycle that's feeling very reminiscent of 3 years ago. And there is a little bit of a mania that happens right around this time where everyone's getting a little bit aggressive and a little bit hungry and a little bit pushy. And, some scams are starting to float around. And when you're a new person trying to get into the space, it's kind of hard. Should you be moving as fast as everyone else? Should you be acting as hungry and as pushy? And don't let the space change you. That kind of behavior is so off-putting and it doesn't lead anywhere good. Hastily thought out decisions do not lead to good places or money or success. So whenever you end up in that sort of manic situation where you're being pushed in one way or another, take a breath, take a giant step back and think about what you're doing and like what kind of business deals you're getting into, because I think the next 6 months are just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier, and it's not going to end well.
It's true. It's true. I couldn't agree more. Being discerning in the space, especially with emerging tech, especially with crypto, is very important. And I also really like the idea of finding mentors. That's a hard thing to do, by the way. Finding a mentor that you trust is extremely difficult. So I don't know, maybe some people have an easier time with this. I always had.
May I add something?
Please, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add something, not necessarily mentors, but your circle influences you a lot. So look at us. You're setting up funds. Like, I hang out with you all the time because I want to learn from you. You're my mentors as well. Like, you have new things to teach me every single day. You're influencing me. We're not sitting around talking about nails, which I highly appreciate about you girls. So yeah, that's a good way to do it as well. Like, just get involved in the right space with the right people that can teach you things on a daily basis. It doesn't necessarily need to be a crash course on investing or something like that, but your circle influences you so much that you really need to think about what people you spend your time with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most important thing, no matter what you're doing in life.
And once you find those people,
Please.
double down, double, triple, quadruple down.
Absolutely.
Like, once you find the good people, like, keep reinvesting in those relationships, keep building those bonds, because those are the ones that'll pay dividends.
It's true. Yeah, you know, when I first got into the space, which again, like, I'm quite young in the space, maybe 3.5 years. So when I started coming to these events, I was literally just, look, I don't need to pretend, I don't need to like say I know something when I don't. Here's where I'm at, here's what my industry is/was, and I'm here to learn. And so I would find myself at events similar to this, or large conferences, whatever it was, consensus, things like that, and I'd be sitting in the audience listening to people pitch their crypto or blockchain project in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. And I'm like watching what they're saying, listening to what they're saying. And I'm like, that's actually illegal. Or like, wait a minute, how does this person think that's gonna work? Or that's not, even if it's legal, like, I know the ins and outs of rights and royalties and negotiations and copyrights and things like that in the industry so well. How is this actually something that they think is going to move forward? Well, why don't I just chat with them when they get off the stage, tell them what I know, and it ended up propelling itself into something bigger, where I started advising companies, speaking on stage myself, and again, not pretending to know something I don't know, but saying, hey, here's where I come in, here's what I know in the industry. How do you guys think you can solve a problem of ours? So I think it's a big thing too, to take something that you know and use that as your power. Know that's your power, know that's where you're at, and combine that as a resource with somebody else. So I'm gonna do one last question, maybe just dive into the market a little bit, and hopefully open it up for Q&A after this. But you know, as just a burning question, obviously Bitcoin is flying high. We're all super, super happy. Where do you guys think this is going? Is there another crash coming? Blah, 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 blah. We know. But yeah, just always fun to spit back and forth on this.
Oh, now they want
Disclaimer,
me to start.
disclaimer, none of this is investment advice.
I don't know if I'm going to answer that question because I don't
Fair.
have a crystal ball.
Fair.
And I don't make predictions, but what I can say, at least according to what I read or what I see, is of course, you know, we have to be very aware of where we are in that cycle, and we have to be aware that, you know, cycles are cycles, and there is a beginning and there is an end. So the end of that cycle will come. I don't think it's coming next week, but it will come. That being said, I personally have been in the space, you know, with a very long-term horizon. So, you know, I believe in what it can achieve for our society on a very, very long time frame. So I'm not really bothered about those cycles. That's why I don't I don't try to predict them that much because I truly believe that on a long enough time frame, that space is winning. So yeah, now people say that we might be in the middle of the bull cycle, but that's what people say. That's what I'm hearing.
Maybe a better way to phrase this is, how should people be cautious with the market? How should people look at the market? How not to get too excited about one thing or down about another? What's a healthy way to look at market fluctuation? Maybe that's a better way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, don't invest in anything you don't understand.
Yep.
Right? So for me, I will reveal that, I'm trying to do the math right now. I would say 80% of my money is in Bitcoin, 10% of my money is in Bitcoin trusts, and then the other 10 is in altcoins. And then I'm also starting to make investments into funds where I can be a little bit more loose because I've vetted the managers, right? But how do I say this? There's such wild opinions out there as to where we are in this market, right? Like, I talked to a trader yesterday who was convinced, like, the bull's over and, like, this is, like, the tail end of the mania. I talked to someone else the other day who said, this is the last bull cycle, like, there's not going to be a drop because we're through the gates, right? I'm of the opinion that we probably have another 6 months, and then we might see a correction. So, I mean, invest in a balanced way. Being so heavy in Bitcoin helps me sleep at night because I genuinely see the demand coming from the institutional side. And I know that if there is, if there is a drop, even a significant drop, I know that it's temporary. So that gives me some peace of mind. And buy Nexo.
Thank you, Tad. Yeah, Tad became an investor of ours like a couple of months ago. That was one of the friends that I managed to convince back in the days. And if I knew you guys back in the days, like in December, I would tell you buy more Nexo at 10 cents. But unfortunately, yeah, I didn't. Well, I'm obviously very heavy on Nexo. Like it's easy to predict that. I'm of the same opinion as Tatiana. Frankly, I think we have a solid 6 or 7 months to come. What I would advise you as well is to only buy things that you understand. Obviously, like this is my case with Nexo. Like I've reinvested in our own company, which has made a lot of sense so far. But another way to look at this is don't just focus on bull markets. You might find it useful to build other tools when the market is not in a fantastic state. Like what we did at Nexo when the market just collapsed back last March is that we started building, making shovels, preparing for the next gold rush. So my advice would be, invest heavy in a cryptocurrency, diversify your portfolio, obviously manage it in a very good way, and obviously this is our bread and butter. Like we manage other people's money, we have to do that. But get smart when the market is not in the same direction, when we're not in the tulip mania stage of things. Just get smart. Start building other things. Start building other tools. Start building other way to make money. But otherwise I share the same opinion as Tatiana. Like probably another 6 or 7 months for the bull run.
Yeah. So. Before we open up for Q&A, you all have taken us through sort of your professional experience, your personal experience. I would love just a quick highlight of the thing that's most important to you, the project you're working on that you want the audience to know about before we open up for Q&A. If there's anything, or if you want to share an extra tidbit with the audience, whatever that is. But if there's a project specifically you're very excited about, your own or someone else's, whatever it is, would love to hear that.
You start, I have to think.
Or we can do that after Q&A, or that can come out in Q&A. But I wanted everyone to have the opportunity to kind of talk about what they're specifically working on, because that's important.
So I'm a heavyweight libertarian, so I really like it when people get their freedom, like when they get to manage their own finances, when they get their actual. That comes especially about women, frankly, nowadays, because I've realized that people don't take enough care of their own freedom. So this is a part of Nexo that's certainly getting me excited nowadays. I would like more people to get involved in blockchain, simply because of the reason that this is bringing you more freedom. Like you get to decide for yourself what to do, when to do it. You don't have to listen to government. So I always advise people to move fast and break things, no matter what they're doing, not listen to God, if I had listened to the people who told me that Nexo is never going to make it and it's never going to work, I would have been nowhere in life. This is something that's really getting me excited about this industry and about Nexo, obviously, in particular, because it comes down to money management. So we're building new tools that are going to bring people closer to even more close to that. We're making our investors happier, obviously, by the day. And so this is something that's really, really exciting for me.
Amazing, thank you.
Very cool. I'm going to do a little self-plug. I'm also a big supporter of education, which is actually what got me into writing. I do a Sunday newsletter on the markets, and it's really catered towards folks that are just getting into the space. So if you are that person, or you want to get tips or news or market updates, check it out. It's mythofmoney.com. Mythofmoney.com.
Myth of money. You want to repeat that?
Mythofmoney.com? Yeah? Mythofmoney.com. This is Tatiana's personal column.
Yeah, it's a great one. I recommend it. For me, it's still not working.
Maybe go
Sorry,
closer.
Can you hear me?
Take
No.
one. Yeah.
Sorry. Like that. For me, I don't want to share a specific project per se, but I'll just circle back on what I said. So I just launched this fund, Kinty Capital, and I said something, and I didn't really expand. I said that it's an activist fund. So I'll share something that I find extremely interesting about the space, and that is kind of like at the core of my thesis for this fund. I'm specifically interested in decentralized governance, and not only into decentralized governance, but the fact that we have different networks, different blockchains, each of them with their own governance model. So basically what you have is composable governance. And the reason why I decided to launch an activist crypto hedge fund is because I think that there are a lot of very, very interesting things that are going to happen in that space, meaning that those networks right now are kind of operating in silos, but I don't believe that this is going to be the case forever. And the minute that different communities can interact with each other, a network can maybe acquire another network, a blockchain can attack another blockchain. I think there are dynamics that are extremely interesting, and that's something that I'm tracking very specifically out of personal curiosity, but also now for my fund. So I would encourage everyone to look into decentralized governance. The Polkadot ecosystem, I think, is a very, very big thing that's coming up. I mean, like, this space has been in the making for the past 3-4 years, and I think 2021 is the year that we start seeing the results of that work. So that's also something that I would encourage you to look into.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Perfect. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. Again, I'm very honored to be up here with you all. And there's a lot of history, but a lot more to come, which I'm very excited about. I want to open up the Q&A session here, men, women, all people. This is obviously a place for us to all be together. So if anyone has some questions for our incredible panelists, let me know. I'll bring the mic over to you. Amazing.
Did you guys come up front. I need you guys to come up front. You're going to go to the hood, not vice versa.
All right, we said come up front. You're coming up front. I like it.
Welcome.
If you have a question, please come up front and you'll have a chance to ask.
If you have some questions, please come closer. If you got questions for the lady panelists, please come closer.
How about just the fucking panelists?
So
Love you.
the question that I have
I
is,
don't need a microphone. I'm from New York.
what is your opinion?
Can you introduce yourself first?
Okay, I'm Milton. You can follow me on Instagram and Bitcoin Phelps Family.
Thank you, Milton.
But yeah, so I just wanted to ask.
You're a next
what is
user
the
as well, don't
benefit-
forget that.
Yes, I'm a Nexo user as well. What is the benefits of using centralized finance platforms like Nexo and versus DeFi?
Nexo, that's your question, Nexo, for
That's
sure.
for next.
Yeah,
that's
that's your
your
question.
Okay.
Next, so let's make sure we understand the question properly. It's what are the benefits of using something like Nexo, which has been briefly explained, perfect, over something like DeFi.
CeFi versus DeFi.
I mean,
So-
they're two different things, but
Yeah, for me, it would be like the security you get with CeFi, no question. Like I've had a similar question at the World Economic Forum last year. In March, right before the huge wipeout that we endured in the market, and I would say CeFi. I said CeFi back then. I stand by my stance. It's just easier to manage, easier to manage your own funds and to have a peace of mind that your funds are secure. So this is my question, my answer.
So I'll go next. Sorry, Theo, for what I will say now, but I don't think that there are any benefits. I think the world is going into a direction where every backend is going to be decentralized. Obviously, this is not going to happen overnight, which is why services like Nexo, centralized CeFi right now are still important to kind of like bridge, the current phase with the next phase. But I don't think that in 10 years time from now you'll be using centralized services. I think businesses like Nexo, I'm not saying that they will disappear, but I think they will just evolve in a way that their backend will be decentralized as well. And by the way, on the security aspect, it's less secure to use a centralized platform. Sorry, I have to say this. There is, because there is a central entity, there is this single person risk, not person, but single entity risk. Yeah, single point of failure, exactly. Which you don't have, if you use decentralized services. Now, if you use decentralized services, you gotta know what you're doing, because the risk is just yourself. And are you confident with what you're doing? Do you know what kind of things you're using and how to best use them? Again, I think the CeFi of today will be the DeFi of tomorrow. They're just going to evolve in that direction. That's my thesis.
Maybe.
Can I be the middleman here? Test. Okay, good. Double miking. So obviously, I believe in being able to hold your own wealth independently, right? That's where I came from. That's my story. So idealistically, I think DeFi is the future and it's great. I think actually looking at the capability of most people being able to use decentralized services, you quickly understand that, I don't know, my parents can't farm yield for shit. It's just not going to happen. And, I just got them to a point where they bought Bitcoin, and if they want to borrow against their Bitcoin, I'll probably send them to Nexo, right? It's just the most practical, usable solution for the majority of people on this planet today, right? But for people like us who are, have been in crypto for years and love the space and take the time and want that independence, we're always going to go DeFi.
yeah.
I'll just add to what Tatiana just said. Yes, there is a kind of user experience issue, but that's an issue that I think will be solved, and we should aim, decentralized services, not just DeFi, any kind of decentralized services should aim at reaching a point where the experience is such as the user does not know that they're using a service whose backend is decentralized. Again, not overnight, but give it a bit of time, because from what I've seen, when I was using what we used to call dApps, decentralized application, in 2016, the experience was had nothing to do with the kind of things that we can use today. So there is a lot of progress being made, and I'm very confident that in a couple of years from now, you'll be using decentralized exchanges without knowing that you'll be using that.
And maybe just one or two sentences from somebody, is there a way we can even break that down a tiny bit more into the benefits of passive income that come through this? Because from a layman's perspective, I think, you know, one of the most beneficial things is being able to like control your passive income.
So, test.
Yeah.
Lauren and I have been farming ice the last few days. Is anybody else farming ice? Because we're kind of obsessed. Popsicle.finance.
Okay, well, that's the opposite of what we're going for here, but okay.
Passive income, I made $500 every 24 hours, and I think I only staked about $30,000. So those are some great passive returns. But
Risk reward.
risk reward.
Great.
Okay, I'm gonna give back my mic because I'm being shut down.
Yeah. But by the way, never mind.
Thank you.
So yeah, what I was just trying to get at is I think platforms like that make it really easy for people to jump in, earn passive income, and kind of learn along the way. Do we have another audience question? Pedro, what you got?
I want to know how is it exactly how, if I'm a young lady, right, in this industry, or looking at you young ladies up here, and I'm thinking to myself, how can I be more like you guys? Where is it that you recommend? And how is it that we can reach each and every one of you individually? And let's go ahead and put your contact information out so the people at home can hear as well.
No, just again, yes, we'll definitely put all of our contact info out there. I normally don't do Instagram plugs, but that is a way that you can contact me. It's at lauren.bissell, Bissell. I'll message you back, and or just come talk to me tonight.
So
We'll put that
at
somewhere.
Tatiana Koffman is my Twitter, my Instagram, my Telegram, pretty much in every platform. It's just at Tatiana Koffman, Koffman.
My Twitter is Jenna Zenk, so JennaZenk. You can just find me through Tatiana, probably it's easier. But otherwise, just Jenna, Jenna @kinty.capital, and we can just share. Yeah, just come up to me and I'll give you my details.
So the easiest way to find me is on Twitter. You can search up Tia Supernova and you can find me. I know that's hard to find actually. You can ask me. I'm happy to share with you my email. But the best part of it is that actually at Nexo we have around 200 people now who are very, very happy to onboard to help everyone with questions, to teach them about finance, to teach them how to manage their own portfolio, their own finances, how to get more free when it comes to finance and everything like that. So another easy way to do it is to subscribe to our newsletter at Nexo that we share every Friday. On our website, you go to nexo.io, you find a newsletter and you subscribe to that. But otherwise, we have fantastic account managers, we have fantastic support system, we have fantastic people who are happy and available to teach everyone about everything when it comes to digital finance and everything else.
Yeah.
So besides me, you can hit them up as well. But I'm happy to help everyone.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much. We're going to pass it back over to Pedro here. Thank you, Crypto Mondays. Thank you to our panelists.
Listen, you guys, we got one more question. We got Mr. Nick Spanos in the house. This is Nick Spanos. You got to bring yourself here. Boy.
Spanos.
Come on up here. You can do it. Come on up here. Hey!
This man just won a lifetime achievement.
Over here, Spanos. Over here, Spanos. Over here.
Oh yeah,
over
no,
here.
we're going to say it.
Over here. Yeah, over here. Over here.
Financier.
I'm supposed to ask a question, right? What kind of microphone is this?
When that
It's
works.
sure
Yo.
audio.
What do you mean? Your microphones suck. So I have a question for the ladies here. See, I got in a little early in this industry for different reasons. I was an activist. And when I see these grand gals up here, I see revolutionaries that are changing the world. They're the Molly Pitchers. I don't know if you guys know who Molly Pitcher is of the American Revolution, even though we're not in. So Molly Pitcher, forget about her, but yeah. She was helping bring water and provisions to the men that were manning the cannons, and then when she came back, the men were dead, and she grabbed the cannon and manned it herself. So I don't, I'm not a sexist or anything, but
Oh God, me too's gonna get me. Give me this mic back.
We're all good. We're all hanging
But
out.
I see Molly Pitchers here that are changing the world. So what have you done? Do you see it as a revolution, or do you see it as a monetary revolution?
A little bit of both. Yeah, I think it's time to go. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. This was like to be on a panel with 3 of my closest friends in town. So much fun. Nick, thanks for your question.
Nick,
Pedro.
we do love your question, and can we address it in a moment in the audience? 'Cause
You
I
will,
think
as
we're
soon
having
as
an
we get
issue
done.
with
Listen, I want to thank
the
you
audio.
guys. We got to wrap this panel up. Security's rushing us. I want you guys to know one thing before I leave.
We love
This
you.
is special to me. Reason being, I was raised by a single woman, and at the same time, I go everywhere in the world and I try to encourage women. You are not here for entertainment. You are not here to be anybody's date. You are here to learn and to become financially free and independent. Any one of these 4 ladies up here be more than welcome to teach you guys. I myself will try to teach you as well, and what I'll wind up doing is passing you off to one of the girls as well. And then at the end of the day, we're going to make sure we promote women entrepreneurship and women leadership in crypto, and that's what we're here for. I want to thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank the Beach Grill. Thank these people for giving us this event space in less than 24 hours. We're grateful to them. We'll get better audio video equipment next week. We're going to close out. Thank you to my video team. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Round of applause to my ladies, man. Please, let me get a round of applause to my ladies up here.